Hello, this is me trying to bang out some kind of a rough idea of what I want to do for a video essay. This is an essay that will have been inspired by a kind of a back and then forth two videos inspired by two videos. Toasty Towns, Owen, was brought to the attention of me by Steve Donahue. Owen did a video called "Why Do People Hate Popular Books?" And Steve Donahue did a bit of a response, which is, "What good are negative reviews?" Which, as you can tell by the two titles, are sort of different. They're different questions. So let's kind of go through what they said, which I will not do in my video. And then let me list out what I want to say, or at least, okay, what I perceive that they said in their videos was Owen was responding to a particular genre of booktube video where it's a hate video, where you say like, "Oh, I will never read this," or this book sucks, and I'm going to talk about this book, and it sucks so bad, and I'm going to be sarcastic throughout the entire video, and it just sucks. Which is, it's not so much it is a review, it's a form of review, but it's a very performative review of being performatively angry about a book. Maybe there's actual anger underneath. Maybe that this is something where like they find the author is beneath contempt. And indeed, some of these reviews can go into, these videos can go into what seem like actual personal attacks against the authors of said works, accusing them of various motivations which they ascribe to the book that it gets put out. This is something that I think seems like it is something that you do for clicks to very popular books. Like, why do people hate popular books? Well, it's popular to hate on popular books because, there's a lot of people out there that are aware of the book and will click on your video because it's like, "Oh, I've read that book, I like that book, and I'm going to click on it to see why this person hates it," or, "Oh, I read that book and I kind of found it annoying, and I'm going to, get the popcorn and eat it up while I watch this person just rip it a new one," which is entertaining, which does just objectively get a lot of views. It is a popular kind of genre of video for a reason. So Toasty Towns is basically, he's anti this kind of video. He finds this kind of video not very useful. He doesn't find that kind of hatred entertaining. And, I have to side with him there. It is not something that is particularly, once you've watched a certain number of these, you kind of get tired of them pretty quickly, unless it's something you absolutely hate. And even then, I find that the people who do them can be kind of lazy in how they do it. I mean, that whole thing of, "I'm just going to recount the plot, but in a sarcastic manner." It's like, well, you're not really actually pulling it apart and telling me why you hate it. He actually does make a good, so he doesn't like that kind of video. He actually does kind of say, well, that a video where you kind of take apart, in a reasoned manner, you take apart, look, this took away all the narrative tension of the story when they revealed this here. I lost interest in the character when they did this. More kind of nuanced reasons of like actually addressing the book on its own terms. Like, this was a romance book, but the romance was pretty much wrapped up a quarter of the way through, and then there was nothing left for the rest of the book. There's no like, will they, won't they. He also kind of addressed the idea of people bagging on books because, "Oh, I hate romances, so I'm going to hate this romance book," which is like, well, you're not really taking the book on its things. Like, if it's a romance book, you kind of, to be honest about it, it's like, well, if I don't like romance books, like, well, why are you reading it? Which, I've heard that criticism leveled against me for some books. It's like, "Oh, you obviously just don't like this kind of book," and it's like, but I'm getting off topic. But like, saying like people who obviously you criticize a romance book for being a romance book, well, you're basically just saying, I don't like romance books. Okay, let's move on. Let's not make this into a half-an-hour video. So he did have that. I mean, at the end, he did get a little bit of, there was a little bit of the, why can't we all get along? Or why can't we be more measured and reasonable in our approach to books, I guess, is a way, or much more productive. Like, shouldn't we be helping authors write better books? Which, is not, but like, there's that. Then we got Steve Donahue, who did a what good are negative reviews, where he very much did kind of go into the fact that, well, in a lot of publications nowadays, it is actually quite hard to get a negative review published. Publishers see it as just more of a headache than anything. They always say, oh, we prefer to just pass over it in silence than give a negative review to a book. But you as a freelance, most people are not in berths where they can just like, well, I have a position here and I don't have to worry about stuff like that. I'll write what I write. It's like, no, you're sort of on a very tenuous footing. And if someone decides, I'm going to have to kill this and give you a kill fee, that means I'm going to give you a kill fee for this review, and I'm not going to come back to you for any other reviews. I'm not going to be interested in using your services again. So it's very much hard to get a negative review published in a publication, which, it's one of these things I have to say is one of the reasons why I came to BookTube was you're all too aware in a lot of, like, as a Canadian, I'm all too aware that the people who are doing reviews in book review stuff, they can't give negative reviews anymore. And how many reviews have you read of a book where you get to the end of it and you're just like, I have no idea how they feel about it. They've used a lot of kind of vague buzzwords, and you just get the sense that they're too afraid to say this book sucks or this book isn't worth your time. They'll just, they'll say, it was quite, they'll use odd little buzzwords. I can't even remember them anymore because I've sort of stopped reading reviews in review things. And it's like, when everything is positive, it's like, well, how do I tell that this is the book that I'm supposed to, like, wow, this is the one that I should read? And how am I supposed to find the book that I'm supposed to read? Because, you want to find that rare, oh my God, this book is so amazing. And it's because of this and this and this and this. It's just like, wow. Because I think if people are honest about what gets published, a lot of what gets published is pretty mediocre and may not really be worth your time. Like, if you're someone like me who's a slow reader, you're going to read like 2 books a month. You don't want to have 10 books that are mediocre to wade through before you get to the one good one, because there's a lot of good books out there and you want to get to those ones, and you need to have some kind of a reliable guides that will kind of point you in that direction. So that was sort of those two reviews. I mean, I definitely side on the side of, I agree with Toasty Towns that performatively hate videos aren't very useful. They're almost as bad as videos that are print reviews where everyone's just like, it was a well-constructed novel that certainly ticked along and is another fine example of this kind of, it's just like, oh Jesus. Both of those are fairly useless. You're looking for authenticity. I find, you look for in a review, I don't look for somebody who is, I'm not looking for somebody who agrees with me about a book. I'm looking for somebody who will give me their honest opinion and will hopefully back up that opinion with their analysis. But I'm also looking for kind of passion in a review. I'm looking for people who who have real, actual reactions to books, that they actually, that they can communicate how this book made them feel. And that's, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that both. I'm looking for the love, but I'm also looking for, this really pissed me off, or this I just disappointed me, or this, you know, and, you know, or this book left me indifferent. I'm looking for the kind of the range of emotion to come across from a reviewer, whether that's on the page, which I think is quite a trick to do, or in a video review. I'm looking for kind of a gamut of, you know, passion in the book nerds that I listen to. If, you know, you just kind of hold up books and you go, it was okay, it was fine, it was okay, it was fine, and that's all you can kind of communicate, that doesn't really do it. That doesn't really do anything for me. I want you to say, wow, I love this book. This book unlocked a whole world for me. This book made me cry. This book, and these are the reasons why it did. And sometimes, and you know, back that up, but also like, wow, I was really pissed off when they did this with this character, that this person, that the author decided, you know, I have a main character, let's motivate them by killing off their wife at the beginning of the story and kind of using it as kind of a crutch, an emotional kind of shorthand crutch throughout the story. I found that really lazy and really off-putting. I think those are, you know, you know, hopefully with those examples, you're saying like, well, that doesn't piss me off. I'm kind of, that sounds fine to me. Maybe I'll still be interested in reading the book. I hope it's one of those things. I repeat myself a lot of the times. I think a negative review should give enough that the reader can go, oh, yeah, that isn't a book for me, or, oh, I disagree with this asshole. I can still like this book. I've read some really negative reviews which have motivated me to go out and pick up the book and give it a try at least, because it elicited such a reaction from a writer. And yeah, I do not want, oh, I hated this book, it sucked, it was, you know, some kind of performative hate. But I also don't want like, oh wow, I only just talk about books that I love and all the books on my channel are just all so amazing. It's like, that doesn't, neither of those stances tell me anything. I want a gamut of emotions from the people that I listen to, that I talk to, that put out stuff. I think I'm repeating myself again. You see, this will be the tricky thing of doing this as a review. I mean, maybe it's just that is the little point there, is a gamut of reactions. And, you know, I'm not, and there's also just the idea bringing into that of like, because in some ways when it's just like, everything's relentlessly positive, what we're talking about is a fan. And like, you know, a fan who talks about whatever, that's kind of samey as well, because they love everything in a rather uncritical way, and they'll twist everything, regardless of its quality, to a positive about it, or how this is amazing. And it is a genuine, that is actually a genuine reaction from them. Just like maybe there's some misanthropes who are genuinely negative about everything, but those people can have a tendency to be a little bit monotonous to my mind. You know, when they pop up accusing you of liking something too much, or of not hating something, that can be kind of monotonous too, to get that kind of reaction from my own reviews. I don't know. See, yeah, I'm going to try and work on this, and you know, mention Steve and mention Owen at Toasty Towns at the thing, but not try and summarize their videos, but talk about it's sort of talking about what I'm ideally looking for in someone talking about books, and the things I'm looking for, in that kind of that person. Um, you know, and I know from someone like Steve Donio, he can get really spicy about some books that he does not like, and he'll tear them a new one. But he can also enthuse, and like when he's like he really likes something, it's like, well, I know he really there's other things that he really disliked, so it's like then this is something different, and he gives you the reasons why he likes this, and he gives you the reasons why he doesn't like that, and that makes that more powerful. And you know, it's one of those things of like, oh, I mean, he has his own organ where of open reads where he can actually discuss what he wants and kind of maybe go negative in stuff. But if I only knew him on print, I would get a lot less of that. And I think that makes us very lucky here on BookTube to get the more gamut. I also don't want to turn that. I don't want to turn whatever video essay I do into a into a I'm a Steve fanboy video either. So I might kind of dial back on that because it just sounds like I'm sucking up to Steve, which Steve ignores me, and I'm worshipful from a distance with Steve, so that's good. All right, I'm going to stop there and get going on dinner. More videos later.